following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, I'm Carl Seidel, host of The People's View. The People's View is a show sponsored by the Nashua Republican City Committee. The committee meets every second Thursday at the Crowne Plaza. And if you want to contact us, we have a website, nashuagop.org. And at the end of the show, you'll see some contact phone numbers or email addresses that you may want to send us your comments and recommendations. Thank you for listening in.
Welcome to The People's View, a program dedicated to discussing local, state, and national issues and their effect on the American people. The People's View provides a platform for state representatives and national figures to present their viewpoint. Whether it's social, economic, or financial topics, you'll hear it on The People's View.
Hello and welcome to The People's View. Today we have Jennifer Horn, who chairs the New Hampshire GOP. Jennifer, you have a lot of things going for you in New Hampshire.
It's busy, isn't it? It's an exciting time to be a Republican in New Hampshire right now, Carl.
I don't know how you pulled it all together, but can you tell us about this big 2014 Northeast?
Oh, who says I ever pull it together on anything? What is your... Sure.
Well, this is
we're really excited. This is not only exciting for the Republican Party, it's exciting for all of us right here in Nashua.
Mm-hmm.
Next weekend, the 14th and the 15th, we will be hosting the Northeast Republican Leadership Conference right here in Nashua at the Crowne Plaza both days. And it's really exciting. We have a long list of Republican and conservative speakers, great grassroots training workshops, engaging panels. We're just so pleased that this is happening right here in our own backyard. And what I am particularly pleased by, what I love when I look at the list of speakers who are coming, is that these are people who really represent the full spectrum of the Republican Party. All of these people fit under Ronald Reagan's Big Ten. And so it's exciting to get them all together in one place and kind of start that conversation that we need to have with voters, not just here in New Hampshire, but across the country in the upcoming elections.
Definitely. I hope a lot of people come to hear all these people. They're very interesting. And to get them together into a two-day period is something amazing.
It is a lot. For folks who live right here in the extreme Northeast, you know, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, parts of Connecticut, Michael Graham is going to be there. That's somebody that a lot of those folks listen to on the radio every day. But we also have Bobby Jindal, governor of Louisiana, coming. Fred Barnes, editor of the Weekly Standard, one of the smartest people that I ever got to interview back in the days when I used to do radio. John Fund is coming. Rick Santorum, Joe Scarborough.
All the people we see on those Sunday shows.
All sorts of, a lot of the people you see. And speaking of who you see on TV, Stephen Hayes, who spends a lot of time on Fox, as well as writing for the Weekly Standard. Let's not forget Scott Brown and Richard Tassay from Massachusetts, a great candidate running for Congress right in our neighboring state of Massachusetts. So it's a
John Bolton too?
Ambassador John Bolton, Governor Louis Fortuno, the former governor of Puerto Rico, Republican governor down there, did a fantastic job and coming up to kind of share his story. Folks up here may not have heard him before. I have. I've had the chance to meet him, to hear what his life story was. Fantastic, really engaging, really interesting. And every one of them kind of has a voice in our party. Every one of them represents, one of those core principles or more of the Republican Party. So we're excited that they're coming. And this is a terrific opportunity, really, for our grassroots activists and our party leaders, our county chairs, our town chairs, all those folks who work so hard on our campaigns to come in and be informed, to hear some of the best speakers in the country talk about those issues that are so important to all Americans. Great opportunity to come in for some top-tier grassroots training. GOPAC, one of the most widely respected grassroots trainers in the country, will be here in Nashua as part of this conference. So we're very excited.
Yeah, and how did you, who's putting together the program? Because the programs are very interesting.
Well, we've got a great team together from at the party level who's been working on this. A lot of really good people, including Jen Kuchar and Molly Sanborn and Jake Wagner, and the staff in the office have been working really hard on this. Our finance chairman Jim Merrill, everyone's been working on it. We've got some terrific panels that they've put together. A panel of media consultants talking about candidates and messaging in the media. A panel of media talking heads, folks who are broadcasters and print journalists coming to talk about the role that media plays in politics. Technology in politics is going to be one of our panels. We'll have New Hampshire's own Kate Baker is going to be there to talk about education and school choice.
Oh, really?
So it's just, and it's still developing. Every day we get calls from people who want to be part of it. So that program is still expanding.
So you have people that talk about the issues, and you have people who talk to new potential candidates, or people who just want to be activists and go out and get the vote.
Absolutely.
Sort of stuff.
If you're thinking about running for office at any level, you want to be at this event. It's going to not only we're going to have skills training for campaigning and activist type of tasks, but also educational, informative, so that you have the knowledge and the language on how to address the issues that voters want to talk about as well.
And is there going to be a developed follow-up program of any sort after this? I mean, you have so many things here.
Well,
how do people, after they get all this and they want to sort of, talk to somebody about, okay, how do I implement all this
Absolutely. This conference encompasses 13 states, the Northeast region as defined by the RNC. Here in New Hampshire, what I can say is that we are absolutely going to have follow-up on this. We will continue to have expanded grassroots training from now right through until the election cycle. Folks who want to run for office, especially state representative candidates, it's tough because you often have people running who have never run for office before, who they might not have the experience. They're perfectly skilled and capable of doing the job, but they haven't actually campaigned before. So we'll have training that is specifically directed for candidates, training that is specifically directed for town and county committees, for activists, and we're so excited about the opportunities that we have this year as Republicans, that the party leadership is fully committed to making sure that activists and candidates have all the resources they need to make sure that we're successful.
Well, it's a big job and everything. I mean, I know when I ran for the legislature a few years ago, I was a neophyte. I never knew exactly what to do and anything. Got a lot of individual help, but it was never as organized as this is.
Well, and you know what I say all the time is that it's not rocket science.
No.
You need to talk to people about the issues they care about and inspire them to vote for you. Yeah. Inspire them and when people, how do you inspire them to vote for me? Offer them real solutions. Be honest. Look them in the eye. Knock on their door. We know that here in New Hampshire, the way that it works is you simply knock on their door and have a conversation with them, and I think that for most folks especially who are new to campaigning, who are new to coming to this, the biggest hurdle for them is to knock on the first door.
Right.
And just when you see how easy it is, how welcoming people are, how eager they are to have these conversations, you just get past it and it's just full steam ahead after that.
Yeah, it is. It's true. It's not that hard, but the first time you do it, it is difficult.
Always.
Going around,
just like anything else, the first time you do anything.
That's right.
Sure.
But it's an interesting process, especially with 400 people running for state representative.
Just for the House. That's right. Just for the House.
Just for the House.
I was down at one of the RNC meetings, and we had a meeting of the Northeast chairs, and just casually in conversation mentioned my 400 House seats, and everyone at the tables, their jaw just dropped. And you have 400 what? We have a large, as being conservative when we say we have a large legislative body in Concord. But it's part of what makes us special in New Hampshire. It really is.
And it does bring down to the level of
Exactly.
not a handful of people, but a smaller number of people that you can actually get to know a lot.
Well, and your constituents are your neighbors. They're right. They live down the block from you. They live around the corner from you. You know, when you're elected by 3,000 people, you know, plus or minus a few, there's no excuse for not getting out there and knocking on every door. And I think that that's part of what makes us special, not just unique, but special in our government here in New Hampshire, is that every citizen really can have a voice. You know, if you're one of only 3,000 people that a state rep is supposed to be representing, there's no reason you can't go to your representative to their house and knock on their door and say, here's my concern, here's what I'm worried about, and this is what I'd like you to do.
Well, we'd like to see us do a little bit more, too, to bring people out, too.
Absolutely.
For that. And I think here in Nashua, if anybody is thinking of running who's listening to, to us today,
absolutely.
is NashuaGOP.org. We have our website, and we meet every second Thursday of the month. So
at the Crowne Plaza.
At the Crowne Plaza.
We want them to be able to find you. Yeah, just show up at a meeting, make a phone call.
That's right.
Call me. I know I say all the time, I think 99% of the Republicans in the state of New Hampshire have my cell phone number already. It's not, you know, it's as I said, it's not rocket science. Make a call. We'll give you all the information that somebody would need. We want good, strong, passionate people on the ballot. And you know, our party and the principles of our party, and I say this all the time, that when the core principles of the Republican Party are translated into policy, the entire community is lifted up. The entire community is, you know, advanced and moves forward. And so we need folks in Concord. We need who are teachers, who are real estate agents, who are stay-at-home moms, who are grandfathers, who are business owners. You know, the policy and the principle represents the entire spectrum of the community. The entire spectrum of the community should be represented in the House. So nobody should feel like, oh, I'm a, you know, what do you know, I own a McDonald's franchise, I don't belong in the State House. Of course you do. Of course you do. You know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We need stay-at-home moms in the State House. You know, I'm retired. My work days are behind me. We need you in this. We need everybody to get out there. And
of diversity.
Of course, that diversity of experience is what makes the diversity of thought is what makes our party strong, and that diversity of experience is what makes the State House strong.
Yes, I've
no
seen
question.
that. I've seen that, and it is very interesting. It's not overwhelming, but it is. It's something that you can really grasp pretty quickly.
And it's genuinely a service to the community. So hopefully folks will reach out to us. And if not straight through the Nashua website, then call the state party headquarters, nhgop.org. The phone number is there. You know, ask for Todd. He wants to help. Anybody who wants to run for office, Todd wants to help them.
Right, and I know there's going to be a number of workshops between now and when you sign up in June.
And start right now, this coming weekend, the 14th and the 15th of March. People can go to northeastrepublicans.com. There are a number of different packages. We've tried to make it very affordable, very accessible. Whether you're thinking about running for office, whether you're an activist, whether you are a quiet citizen who just really cares about the future of our country, you're going to want to come out and be part of this.
Good. Well, you've talked quite a bit about that. I don't know if we left anything out.
So I don't think so. northeastrepublicans.com.
Okay, so people can read there the literature that's on that page. Yeah. Well, I hope we see a number of new people out there.
Well, and I think as I'm looking at the list, I think we will. And there's a lot of energy. It's going to be hundreds of people from 13 different states. So people want to come out. And if you need any encouragement as to how important it is to come out and attend this kind of an event and be part of it, all you have to do is look at what's happening on the news right this minute today. As they're covering the vote from yesterday, where both of our congresswomen, Congresswoman Shea Porter, Congresswoman Custer, both voted to delay the individual mandate under Obamacare. And while someone might look at that and say, "Oh, great," because we know that mandate is literally killing jobs. You know, so yay that they voted to delay it. But the other side of that is that this really is a very, that vote is a very transparent, self-serving vote. And what folks have to understand is that they are trying to push this past the election cycle. They're trying to push the full implementation of Obamacare until after the elections. Because, as we've seen for the past 6 months, it's a debacle. It's devastating. Over 22,000 people in the state of New Hampshire received cancellation notices last year alone. We know that there are going to be thousands more to come. Health insurance and health care has become more expensive. It is becoming less accessible. Half of our hospitals aren't even able to participate in the exchange here in New Hampshire. If you're in the North Country, God help you if you're in the North Country and you need health care. If folks are driving farther, spending more, have less accessibility, lost their health insurance, not able to stay with the doctors that they liked. And on top of all of that, Governor Maggie Hassan wants to implement a gas tax.
Yeah.
So not only you're driving farther, you're paying more to get there. So, these are the issues that people are really suffering under and that families in New Hampshire are struggling with.
Sure, and we need to get some Republicans in there to get on in the Senate.
So,
We really want.
Oh, we do. Look, the only thing that has saved us, as we saw last year, the Senate Republicans brought us a balanced budget. The governor's budget just was collapsed. It was so bad that the Democrats wouldn't pass it in the House. Her own party was almost erupted into a civil war over it. So the Republicans brought us a balanced budget. The Republicans protected us from any increased taxes and fees. The Republicans in the Senate, but we need more Republicans in the House. We need a Republican in the corner office, and it would be nice to have a lot more Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah, well, we're showing a slight budget excess too, which is something you need for the rainy day fund because we don't have any more rainy day fund from.
Well, it would be nice to have a rainy day fund, wouldn't it?
Right.
Yeah. And a little bit of responsible, a little self-discipline in the way that we spend money, I think, would be a good thing. We have a governor in the corner office right now who looks a lot like the president in the White House, in that every dime that she picks up on the floor, she thinks is another chance to spend money, grow government, and create new programs. So we really need somebody in that corner office who's going to have show some fiscal discipline. It would be nice to have somebody there with a little bit of business experience, some background, who understands what it means to sign the front of a check as much as the back of a check. Who understands how to grow jobs, maybe has some experience growing jobs.
And not in the government.
And not in government. Well, recovery always comes from the private sector.
Yeah.
It almost seems foolish that we continue to have that conversation. But folks need long-term, steady jobs. The underemployment that we continue to suffer from in our country. And they've covered this a lot just in the last couple of weeks because of some recent polls that have come out on this, that Americans feel like they are in a recession. And when you ask them about, do you realize we're in a recovery? No. Really? This is what a recovery feels like? Are you kidding me? The slowest, flattest recovery I think that we've ever seen. So, and I think that there's genuine concern among Granite Staters and Americans that another recession is right around the corner, because it certainly feels like it the way that we're living every day.
We're living cautiously because
right.
we don't want to go crazy or something or make commitments that we won't be able to follow.
And the truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. It's not inevitable. And there's better leadership out there. There are better policies that can be implemented that would make a big difference. And that's why when I see somebody like Carol Shea Porter, Ann McLean Custer, I mean, these are people who were sent to Washington by their neighbors. And in New Hampshire, we have a very personal connection and relationship to our elected representatives because we're such a small state. So when we see them go down there and do something that is so self-serving and so transparent, so manipulative, as to suddenly vote for something, for something that they have voted against in the past. That they want to be able to come home and say to people, "See, I voted to delay the mandate to protect you," but they don't want to have the conversation that Carol Shea Porter voted for Obamacare, that they have both voted to protect it and promote it and preserve it every single opportunity they've gotten. And it's only now that we're in March of an election year and suddenly Obamacare is failing, and Granite Staters have seen that it cannot work under any circumstance, and they want something better. And now suddenly these folks that have voted for it have a different idea. Well, and not to sit here and just pile on, but God help her, Senator Shaheen is no better.
Oh, yeah.
It really, Senator Shaheen was the deciding vote for Obamacare. She cast the deciding ballot on that, and if it wasn't for her vote, we wouldn't have it even. So.
More and more senators and representatives on the federal level are sort of switching their horses.
Well,
I
no
mean,
question. Then there are a lot of Democrats who are in tough races, and who apparently what they were just reporting on the news before I came over here is that a number of Democrats in the House and Senate who are in hotly contested races were actually in on the planning and the strategy to come up with this idea to delay the individual mandate until after the election cycle. So no one should be fooled into thinking that this is a step toward fixing Obamacare. It's not. It's just delaying the pain a little bit further.
well, delay is a tactic they've been using for the last 8 years, or 6 years, I should say, because any of these so-called scandals that they worry about.
Well, we saw this in the presidential elections in
Right.
2012.
They
no
just
question.
delay it till after the election. In fact, some of them have been delayed so long they try to make people say, "Oh, that's old. Forget about it."
Well,
It's
that's
already...
right. Why are you still talking
Yeah,
about that?
yeah.
4 dead Americans. Why are we still talking about that?
it-
Americans targeted for their
None of-
political views by a government agency, the IRS. Why are we still talking about that? Fast and Furious. How many people killed? From a government gun running scheme. It just. It really does boggle the mind sometimes if you sat down and made a list of all of the failures of this administration and the direct personal impact those failures have had on the lives of Americans. It is overwhelming. And I think a lot of people just don't want to believe it. They just don't want to think it could be true. But I think that we've reached a point now where people are feeling it in a very personal way. We have a whole generation of children that are growing up believing that this is what an American economy looks like and feels like. And how does that impact their sense of opportunity and that unlimited opportunity that the American dream is supposed to be built on?
Well, I think now's the time to take advantage of those kids getting out of college and can't find a job, or if they find a job, it's beneath what they've been trained to
Right,
do.
certainly not in there. And we know that over, some polls have showed that over 50% of college graduates are either unemployed or not working in their field of study. And that's discouraging. That is really discouraging. We can do better than that. We really can. And I've always said that, when I used to campaign, when I was on the radio, we can do better than this. We deserve principled, passionate representation from our elected officials, whether it's at City Hall on Main Street in Nashua or in Congress and in Washington D.C. and everywhere in between. That's why I'm so excited this year here in New Hampshire, because I think that we're going to have the opportunity to bring principled, passionate Republican leadership to our state, and I think that it's going to make an extraordinary difference in what the future looks like for young families raising children here in our state.
Well, we certainly have a lot of targets to fire at, and I know you're going to give us the ammunition and train us in how to use it.
We have been working hard. We've been working hard. We've been trying to hold our elected people accountable. As Governor Hassan, we can continue to talk about it until Election Day. She gave us just a dismal budget. Is continuing to try to push for casino gaming in an irresponsible manner. Caring more about trying to bring more money in to create more programs and expand government than she is about what's really best for the communities here in our state. I think education is another example. It's something that we'll be talking about at the conference. The Republican Party is the party of education. We are the party that is fighting for education policy that gives every child opportunity. And a great example of that is right here in our own state, where 2 years ago, Republicans passed the education tax credit scholarship law, which would finally allow students and parents of students to find the best educational opportunity for their child and not be limited by the zip code in which they live. It was a tremendous program. Didn't cost taxes. It was privately funded. And the governor came into office, and not only did she want to repeal it, but when that failed, she's now trying to go all the way to the Supreme Court and try to, our state Supreme Court, and trying to turn it over as somehow being unconstitutional. I think that New Hampshire can do better than leadership that thinks equal education opportunity is unconstitutional.
Well, I think that also points out that New Hampshire people generally like choice in, in
absolutely.
everything. Choice
sure.
in healthcare, choice in education, choice in jobs,
Right.
and
Right.
all over. And that's one of the mistakes. They're trying to make everything one pathway is
Right.
for everybody.
Well, and there
not
is an
true.
intolerance for a debate of ideas,
Right.
or an intolerance for, the idea that, any kind of a differing thought. And I always look at things from the perspective of being a mother, whether it's professionally or politically. Everything I do is through the lens of being a mother. So I worry about my children and their children having access to the highest quality health care. The United States of America is on the front edge of medical research and advancements in cures and treatments. And I want my children to have access to that. And Obamacare limits access to that. It decreases access to that. I want my children to have access to unlimited educational opportunity. I want them to be able to be and achieve everything they dream of. And we all know that that starts in education. So your child shouldn't be trapped in an underperforming school.
That's right.
They shouldn't be trapped in a an educational facility where they fall through the cracks, or where their individual needs are not met for some reason. We know that there is no one-size-fits-all plan for how to educate kids. They all need something a little bit different from the other. So parents should have the opportunity to choose the best place for them to be. Career choices, investment choices. Whatever you're looking at. I think we do kind of have a passion for that here in New Hampshire, but I think that sort of that individual liberty and that individual independent spirit that we have here, I think it's starting to expand. I think it's starting to spread across the country.
I hope so.
And I think we're going to see the results of that in the elections.
Now, I was brought up in an atmosphere like that, but around the national programs, it's not there. It's not there.
Well,
It's
it can
discouraging.
be there. It can be there. I'm not discouraged. I'm genuinely optimistic.
Okay.
I think it is going to be a good year for families, and a good year for businesses, and a good year for that individual choice and that independent spirit that our nation was built on. I think that these elections are going to bring us new leadership that's going to start to get us back on the right path.
Good.
But it's all just laying the foundation for what has to happen in 2016 as well. This is the beginning of turning our country around, and we'll have the opportunity to expand on that and grow it as we go forward.
Oh, definitely. Well, Jennifer, I hope that everything goes well this coming weekend.
We're very excited. NortheastRepublicans.com.
Yeah, and that we get enough people attending this.
Oh, it's going to be a full house already.
Yeah.
There's room for more to register.
Okay.
But folks should get online and sign up and save
And
their
bring
seat
their
now.
neighbors.
And bring your neighbors. Bring your spouse. I actually know a few couples who are taking the day off from work on Friday and
Oh,
making
really?
a weekend of it, staying
Oh.
over at the hotel and
bad.
having a good time.
I don't know. They some interesting meetings. Yeah.
How sad that the life I live, date night, a weekend to get away is a political conference, But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very educational. I hope that everybody will come out and join us.
And I'm sure it's going to be successful too.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for being here. And we're going to get you back sometime around June when we're starting everybody to sign up.
All
and
those
everything.
candidates are signing
All
on the dotted
candidates.
line. Terrific.
And people will be talking.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate the
thank you
opportunity.